Hi, I'm Steve Younis. Welcome to your Superman news video, recapping the events of the week July 31st to August 6, 2015. Our top news stories this week included Jenna Dewan Tatum has been cast as Lucy Lane for the Supergirl TV series, John Romita Jr. answers our questions in an exclusive video interview, and a new Lois Lane novel is coming next year. Let's check out these stories and more in this week's Speeding Bulletin. In movie news, an interesting video of elderly people reacting to the Batman v Superman trailer has been posted online. It's well worth checking out if you haven't seen it already. Speaking of elderly people, the great Stan Lee has revealed who he thinks would win in a fight between Superman and Batman in a recent interview with the Boston Herald.
Superman, who would you put your money on?
Oh, Superman. I think. He's indestructible. He can do anything. And Batman relies on a few weapons. Now, the fellow who created Batman, Bob Kane, was a very good friend of mine, so he'd be unhappy at me saying that. But at the same time, Jerry Siegel, who's one of the creators of Superman, used to work for me for a while, so I feel I have divided loyalties. But if this is real, a fight between Superman and Batman, there's no way you'd bet on Batman.
The September 2015 edition of both the Men's Health and Men's Fitness magazines feature Henry Cavill on the cover. In the Men's Health magazine, he talks about his new movie The Man from U.N.C.L.E., getting physically ready for Superman, and what it takes to be mentally prepared for the role. Both magazines are available to purchase online or are available at your local newsstand. With the release of the full-length documentary The Death of Superman Lives What Happened, Yahoo Movies asked Nicolas Cage to comment on the film and his thoughts about people now seeing more from the film in which he would have starred as Superman. He said, "I had great belief in that movie and what Tim Burton's vision was going to be for that movie. I would have loved to have seen it." Filmmaker and Superman fan Robert Dodrell has launched a Kickstarter campaign to fund his DC fan film Turpin Terrible Toys, a short film that takes place in a pre-Superman metropolis. It follows Detective Dan Turpin as he sets out to find a serial killer who uses toys as weapons. Visit the Kickstarter page for Turpin Terrible Toys for more details about how you can help fund this project. In TV news, Jenna Dewan Tatum has been cast in the role of Lucy Lane for the Supergirl TV series. In her mid-20s to early 30s, Lucy is described as brash, funny and as beautiful as her sister Lois, yet strong, smart and successful in her own right. Jenna, who is the wife of actor Channing Tatum, most recently played a role in the Witches of East End TV series. CBS released a new promo teaser for the Supergirl TV series titled Standing Out. In this video, Kara receives a message from her Kryptonian mother, Allura.
Mom. Kara, light-brain daughter.
I see the pain behind the mask.
I feel like I'm not living up to my potential. There is no correct path in life. The world needs you to fly. I can't do it. You can. I've always felt the need to help people.
That's what makes a hero, Kara.
Be strong. Find your way back to the brave girl you always were.
In comic book news, in New York on Wednesday night, comic book artist John Romita Jr. attended the graphic novel launch of Superman the Men of Tomorrow, collecting the acclaimed run of Romita Jr. and best-selling writer Jeff Johns on the monthly Superman comic series. The special word-for-word author event began with a Q&A session, followed by Romita Jr. signing copies of the hardcover graphic novel. Superman homepage reporter T.A. Hewitt attended the event and was able to interview Romita Jr. one-on-one.
But, quite honestly, there are a lot of fans at the Superman homepage. Not everybody necessarily is going to go with everything whole hog, but there are a lot of fans who do want to be invested into it. So, for those fans over there, just maybe so they don't go off on the wrong tangent, maybe get a little clarification on that one?
What I meant was, there are half of the fans that dislike my stuff, and half of the fans like it. And if they drop the book because they don't like me, that would be a shame, because then they wouldn't be able to experience what the book is. That's what I was saying, but I probably misspoke when I said
right. Now,
watch the rest of the interview at our website now. ComicBookResources.com and Newsarama.com both published interviews with Superman artist John Romita Jr. this week. In regards to the dynamic between Lois Lane and Superman, he told CBR, I think that as a modern everyday female, especially a strong woman like Lois Lane and a beautiful one at that, she shouldn't just fawn over him. Comic books we reviewed this week included Superman number 42, which was reviewed by Adam DeChannel, who called it thoroughly flawed but enjoyable, and he rated it a 2 out of 5. While T.A. Hewitt reviewed Injustice Year 4, Chapter 13, rating this chapter a 2 out of 5, saying, the majority of Year 4 has taken place on the steps of the Hall of Justice, comprising a fight that won't start yet won't end. Superman comics and other items available this week from August 5th include Injustice Gods Among Us Year 4 Chapter 14 digital comic has been available since August 4th. Injustice Gods Among Us Year 4 Number 7 print edition. Justice League Gods and Monsters Wonder Woman one-shot print edition, which is also available in a variant cover. DC Comics Bombshells Chapter 3 digital comic will be available August 8th. Superman Volume 5 Under Fire trade paperback. Infinite Crisis Fight for the Multiverse trade paperback. And DC Comics Bombshells Lois Lane statue. Outfit your feet in comfort worthy of a superhero. Your kids will look great in a pair of DC Comics Superman athletic slip-ons, now available from $26.95. Or how about these DC Comics Superman slippers, available from just $7.73. These and other great Superman shoes are available from your one-stop Superman shop, the Superman homepage online store at supermanhomepage.com/shop. In other news, Twitch Press has announced that author Gwenda Bond will follow up her Lois Lane Fallout novel with a sequel in May next year titled Lois Lane Double Down. Lois Lane has settled into her new school, she has friends for maybe the first time in her life, she has a job that challenges her, and her friendship is growing with Smallville Guy, her online may be more than a friend. But when her friend Maddie's twin collapses in a part of town she should never have been in, Lois finds herself embroiled in a dangerous mystery that brings her closer to the dirty underbelly of Metropolis. You can pre-order the book from our online store ahead of its release in May 2016. A tyre shop in New Zealand has been forced to change its logo to avoid legal action from DC Comics, who insist its mascot too closely resembles Superman. Owners of Super Tyre Guy Marie and Jean Young were surprised when 2 weeks ago they received a letter from DC Comics requesting they immediately and permanently stop using the Super Tyre Guy character. The tyre shop is in the process of changing their logo. The Superman homepage Super Trivia Quiz has been updated for another month. The 3 questions we're asking you this time around are: who was the man behind the Atom Man mask in the 1950 Superman serial Atom Man vs. Superman? Who was the man behind the mask of the villain known as Ruin in the Superman comic books? And in the 1940 Superman radio series story titled The Atomic Beam Machine, what is the name of the villain who steals an atomic ray gun and threatens to destroy the Daily Planet building? If you think you know the answers to all 3 questions, come by the site now to submit your entry. And that's all the news there was for the week July 31st to August 6th. I'm Steve Younis from supermanhomepage.com. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. See ya.
Great Scott. Great Scott. Great Scott.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another fabulous episode of Great Scott. I'm Scotty V. Thanks for watching. So, through the years, Superman has been used in a multiple plethora of ways for advertising purposes, to sell shoes, he's put on shirts, he's put everywhere. And why? Because he's super popular. Kind of like Super Tire Guy. Now, in recent years, DC has seemingly been cracking down on people using the image of Superman for their own personal gain. I've had people say to me, this is greedy. DC makes tons of money. Warner Brothers makes tons of money. Do they really need to go after these little mom-and-pop companies that are just trying to make a buck? And maybe they don't, and sure, they do make lots and lots of money, but the point is, and in legal terms, forever, since the beginning of who knows when, people haven't been able to use somebody else's intellectual property, creation, invention, or logo for their own personal gain. Wahahaha. And even though it's a little mom-and-pop company, and they're probably never going to be able to make as much money as DC or Warner Brothers on the whole, it's still not right, I guess. So maybe you could look at it as greedy, because why should DC care? But on the other hand, why should somebody else be able to make their money on the backs of someone else? Now, if we go even deeper than that, we can say that DC is making their money on the backs of Siegel and Schuster, whom maybe lots of people still feel like weren't treated fairly, and they weren't, but there's been a lot of fixes for that over the years. That thing's supposed to be all over. So now, whether it was Siegel and Schuster or DC or Warner Brothers or whoever it is, the owners of Super Tire Guy Company, which I guess is what the name of their company is in New Zealand, do not own Superman, and therefore, I guess DC feels like they shouldn't be able to use the logo of Superman, the look of Superman, the whole idea of Superman, to hawk their brand of tires or their company. The reason could be greed, but it could also be, they're representing Superman on their company. We don't know what their company is. We don't care about their company. We don't know that Superman should be representative of what their company should be. Now, the owners of the New Zealand company said they were confounded, number one, because they never thought of Superman when they designed their logo. They said they were just looking for a superhero logo, a stock logo, a logo that gave the idea to people passing by that it was a superhero type logo. But they never had the idea that it was a Superman logo. They never even thought of Superman. They never planned for it to look anything like Superman. But it came out like this, and at that point they said, that's our own thing. That's Super Tire Guy. Number two, what is a tire spelled with a Y? What in the world? Why is it spelled with a Y? It's spelled Super Tire, T-Y-R-E, Guy. I don't know if this is the thing they do in New Zealand, or if this is to be cool, or what it is, or maybe they just didn't finish primary school and they're not really sure how to spell tire, but that ain't how you spell it. And thirdly, if you're going to have a guy flying around with a red cape and a blue suit on, they say it's orange in the description, but that looks red to me, and it really looks like the Man of Steel. If you're going to have a guy with tires on his arm flying, what's the point of this company? Is he going to show up anywhere in New Zealand and bring you tires if you have a flat? Because he better, if he's going to look like this. Otherwise, it's kind of a useless logo, because unless they're flying around bringing you tires when you need them, you're still going to have to get to their shop somehow, and you could go to any shop anywhere in New Zealand and still get the same service. So, guy who owns Super Tire Guy, if somehow you just, sent out your logo idea to a company somewhere down in East Japip, Florida, and you just didn't know what you were going to get back, and you said, design me a superhero, and this is what he sent you, this is Superman. Just for future reference. Thanks, everybody, for watching, and remember,
always look up in the sky. Spider-Man. Okay. Always look up in the sky.
Me, look at the camera. We'll do it one more time. Ready? 1, 2.